IFL sit down, shut up, and slam a beer because the Ravens got the controls. I want to start with the sad shit sack trio that I made a bet against and failed miserably. First off, yeah motherfuckers, first off, you Titanic-sized vaginas were so fucking pathetic that you wouldn't take my bet straight up. Looking back now, knowing that each of you would have owned me with your fucking infant-sized balls has got to make you wonder why you needed the security of each other's embrace to take the bet. And I'll tell you why. I already said it. Infant-sized testes. How could something so small grow on something so big like Spencer? I mean, it's a fucking prereq for Cowboys fans, so that solves Brian. But to get the request from Nathan to pay up with 3 weeks to go in the season, let me be clear. You will be paid on the final day possible and not a moment earlier. You minutes from dropping to your knees to earn cash for a quart of milk, Tom Selleck mustache motherfucking wannabe. Since it hurts, let's stay with things that pay Nathan for 100. The 2016 Vikings are the 2015 Falcons. Drink break! Newsflash, pathetic purple pussies, you're coming back. Sad for taking that sack by Trent fucking Murphy with your season rolled up into one play. Crushing disappointment at every turn, sandwiched between a missed PAT, AP's MCL, with a bucket of Bridgewater's tears to fucking wash it down. Forget it. Move on. I heard the Lions are taking bandwagoners for the low cost of running water and electricity in that shithole called Detroit. Now, I will say this for the NFL. For a season where the product has been overall shit, this last week's slate of games was pretty fucking good. Maybe it's the fact that we're getting the third and fourth straight guys on the fucking depth chart now and they're playing hungry football. Or maybe it's because the Vikings lost and that makes me laugh in what has otherwise been a season void of fucking laughs. I'm not laughing. Maybe a little bit. I'd like to throw an obligatory fuck all Sean right now because it's my show and Jeffo and I aren't on good terms. Which brings me to my next subject. Not 2 weeks after Decker took the monkey off my back with the all-time low score, my entire offense gets hurt, suspended, or takes a week off. That's just fucking great! As I moved the fucking underperforming Des Bryant to Tennessee, who promptly responded with a 26-point game against a shitty secondary, Moose. Against a shitty fucking secondary. And the rock of the team, Frank Gore, went to be a fucking Brown for the next 2 weekends before he hits free agency. So not only am I going to get trounced by Sling Blade and hand the division title over to him, but I got to endure setting a record that will never be broken. It will never be broken. If I survive this week and Decker holds that record, then the fantasy football gods don't fucking hate my soul. So when I see other GMs squandering good seasons, it leads me to the question that's been on everyone's tongue. Will the Shire implode? Well, lucky for you and Travis, I'm going to answer that question. The 4-game losing streak isn't a farce. The cracks were showing well over a month ago, and the lack of movement at the deadline was concerning given the fact that Miami made a huge trade to bolster his bid for the East. Well, hell, I'm a little worked up. That was a drink break. Still not convinced? Resting your head on those 300-point games? Well, swallow this. 7 of Travis's 8 wins have come against sub-500 teams with a combined record of 34-57. Still a doubter? Yeah, it includes Baltimore and Minnesota, the 2 worst teams in their respective conferences. Face facts, Wade. You're wallowing in shit. Come join me for a swim. Travis's fucking 1 win over a 500 team? Miami. Way back in week fucking 2. Methinks revenge is coming this week. What was once a foregone conclusion that Travis would make the playoffs is now very much in doubt, and here are the 3 reasons. Number 1, Miami. Number 2, New England. And number 3, St. Carlos. I hope this is one that Trav can come back and say how wrong I was. But limping in won't cut it either, Trav. Not when you had a fucking Cinderella story on a platter. The silver lining in all this is all of you fucking 6 and 7 teams just gotta run the table. Let Travis take his 8-8 fucking record to the number 1 draft slot and make something of yourselves. Even you have a chance, Kyle! L. Raven is watching assholes. Anyway, well, yeah, okay, we'll roll with that. I could have edited that, but we're gonna roll with that. Anyone playing for fucking a top pick is a loser. I'll be calling out as such for eternity for the fucking this show is on the air. I expect all GMs alive to fight. No, watching their assholes. Travis, pick up your first class ticket on the express train to hell. It was a fun run while it lasted, buddy, but the precious is not going to be yours this year. Probably any year, to be honest. This has got to be fucking soul crushing. I'm glad I'm the one to deliver it. Speaking of assholes, drink for this one, guys, because this is going to be good. Let's talk LA Andrew for a second. First off, any woman who will let her man run wild on Slack while she's giving birth to their child clearly doesn't want the results to be seen. My suspicion? Richard Grieco's baby is coming out. Open V-neck shirt and slick back hair and all. At least if he's on Slack looking down, he won't notice the switcheroo while they swap out baby Rich with a turducken. Seriously, how long do you guys think Andrew will show off his turducken before he realizes it's a cross-meat bird? My vote is he's still toting that delicious meat-on-meat around at his high school graduation. My son holds the record for most hit by pitches without crying. And if you think you're getting off that easy, Andrew, well, you're wrong. But you already knew that, didn't you? Chew on this shit. You aren't beating Josh without a QB. But L. Raven isn't going to let it rest on that because that makes it too fucking easy. Your average points of 283 is 9th of a possible 9 for what I consider actual NFC playoff contenders. Does that hurt? Well then, little buck, baby, because here it comes. Throw in Philly Chris, and you're 10 of 10. But why stop there? Your average points against is 276. 8 of a possible 9 NFC playoff teams. You want to throw in Chris again? Sure. Why the hell not? Now you're 9 of 10. Quick fact. Only Dallas fucking Bryan, the paper tiger, or the chosen one, depending on which side of the fence you sleep on, has faced a weaker schedule. Uh-oh, B-Dog. No pushovers in the playoffs. Can we say one and done? And finally, Andrew. 2 of your 3-game win streak has come against Decker and Jai. 2 GMs who actually punched their ticket on the express train to hell way before you did. But bro, make no mistake, your ticket is at the counter. Let's go pick it up. Speaking of ticket holders, grab a beer and get in the caboose. Decker, Damian, yeah, that's right. Wade, Mac, Washington Bryan, Flawed, Jai, Danny, Mark, and scooch over, because a couple pretenders are about to join us. Now, who would I be if I didn't go ahead and talk about the big matchups of Week 10? There were some Negan and Lucille style soul crushers this past weekend. You know that bitch has got to eat. Let's start with the matchup of the week. But first, let's take a fucking swig of fucking belching beaver and whatever the hell you've got in your hand. Because you're listening to the IFL's #1 beer drinking show with El Raven. What I meant to say was the IFL's #1 beer drinking show with El Raven. Now, Carolina defeats Tampa Bay 289-261. And the game score was underwhelming compared to others, but the effect was the same. Division title for Nils. I just don't see a choke job to squander it away. And if you want to point out the difference, look no further than Antonio's 40 points. And I believe at one time, Lucas, you owned counters to Brown. But hey, drug trading, right? Oh, and Gronk shit the bed at the absolute 0 hour. But hang your hat on this, Lucas. You will be the best wildcard team in the IFL playoffs, period. If you earn the rubber match, that's the one that matters. And Nils, El Raven, tips his beak to you and your NFC South title. Yeah! Next up, the real North. Pitt defeats Kylie and the Browns 301-217. Way to show up, Kyle. This is another division clinching win. As far as I'm concerned, it absolutely buries Kyle. But he can cling to this fucking wild card prayer. El Raven told Kyle 10 weeks ago that this week was an issue for him. He was met with very harsh verbiage and sign language each time he brought it up. And if you're looking for a key to the game, here it is. LeGarrette Blount and Devontae Booker outscored Kyle's starting 5 offensive players. This was a Factory of Sadness production at its peak. An instant classic. In the AFC South, you may not see a more dominating win this year. Tennessee's 420-344 win left a Titan-sized imprint on Indy's face. In a rudimentary exercise with zero merit, if you look at player box scores only and just go across and say coach v coach, or 10's first listed offensive player to Indy's first listed offensive player, Indy only lost 15-6. Softens the blow a little bit, so there's that. The Titans win the South, and Indy is left with 8 teams breathing down his neck. Now, Tennessee Jason eyes the #1 seed. In the West, Kurt has never been relevant this late in the season. I mean, neither is Damian, but the path of suffering is longer for Kotoris. The Kansas City Chiefs win 265-258 over the Apache tells us what we've known all year. The AFC West is the AFC North light, and the Apache was hanging around with dumbass luck. If you want to point to a key to victory for Kurt, then point to Big W Webb. That fucking guy had 0 points. Kurt said, I'm going to beat you, Apache, down a man. But the ineptitude doesn't stop there. Gary Barnage and Lance Kendricks, respectively for the 2 GMs, combined for 4.04 points. And we're supposed to believe these are 2 division contenders? Jay can't score 50 every week, Kurt. What a fucking ridiculous statement that is. Week 12, Denver vs. KC decides this fucking mess. And finally, San Francisco's season-saving 306-295 win over Seattle did more harm than good, Josh. How's that, El Raven? You ask? I will fucking tell you. Stick with me, baby birds. First off, a Seattle win helps him keep pace with fucking Andrew. Instead, they both trail with inferior division records and both with head-to-head losses to Andrew. Second, and I just don't think the fucking West sends 2 because the agonizing death of 2 franchises was extended to week 12. You want to point to a key to victory for Josh? El Raven not picking him. But if you want a real reason, it comes in the form of Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson's 31 points delivered the crucial counterpunch to DeMarco and Bell. Oh man, it's fear, baby. In what has been a disappointing season for the $18 million wide receiver, he got 31.2 of his 154.9 total points. I know you love your fucking decimals, Josh. Josh got roughly 20 of his points in a single game. Robinson's last good game came 7 weeks ago against Kansas City Andrew. Couple of fuckheads. Phil, you're listening to Rippin' and Tearing 35, the undercard show. In 2 weeks, I dropped the season finale in a way only L. Raven can. I'm a poker player, fellas, and I'm pushing in all the chips with this show. To get you prepped, I made this. Rippin' and Tearing will return after this drink break in a moment. That was almost calming, right? I mean, Jesus, after fucking like 16 minutes of yelling, whew. Can't have that! You know what time it is? In Cincinnati, the Meerkats continue their franchise regular season dominance over the Ravens, winning 262-221. When asked what this win meant for the Meerkats, Danny said, "I feel like this 5-9 shitstorm has a lot to hang its hat on, but I can't think of any. Who gives a fuck what their records are anyway?" At home in sunny LA, Andrew rolled the listless Cards 294-231. The press didn't ask any questions after the win because Andrew never gave him a chance, as he told him what an amazing job he's done putting his fingerprints on the Rams. Rams in first at 8-5, jive just adds to his suck bucket. In the final game in the Georgia Dome, Floyd and the Falcons got pasted by the Saints 345-245. Carlos' impossible climb out of the dark pit of 0-5 continues. After the game, while eating tiny Floyd voodoo heads with wing sauce, he told reporters that he enjoyed the crunchiness along with the nutrition that voodoo Floyd heads deliver. Carlos to an insane asylum at 7-6. Floyd to what? 4-99? Who gives a shit? In Gotham, his season might be over, but he's not gonna be a red carpet. Aaron and the Death Star deal a crushing blow to the Rebel Rebellion in Buffalo. Travis and the Bills 326-290. When it leaked that Aaron was on the phone with Jason of Tennessee about Cam Newton at the trade deadline, he corrected the reporter while putting on a white hat and said it was actually L. Raven because Jason and Raven sound the same, and the QB was Case Keenum. Jets to 6-7, Bills to 8-5. In the Terror Dome, Cobra Commander and Destro can't get along, so Chicago Nick politely kicked the shit out of the Vikes and ducked out 306-255. On the State of the IFL, Nick thanked the Amish game plan cooked up by Billy Buggy Karen Fidsey and Abram Annihilator Abbey that fucking sized a strong piss game rounded out with heavy drinking and public indecency. Bears to 7-6, Vikes to a dark place. Once upon a time, Skins v. Boys meant something totally not grade A man porn. And that would have been preferred to this shit show. Cowboy Brian wins 386-228 over Sad Brian. You know the routine. Hookers, blow, Dallas PD after the game. Brian at 10-3, NFC East title in tow, Sad Brian to a dark corner to rock back and forth. At the final use of public tax dollars before we went bankrupt dome, aka Detroit, the Packers won on a last-second Hail Mary, 298-290. After the game, Barry looked into the camera and said, "Nick, I know you're rattled, and it's okay, guy. No, just kidding. You make me sick." Pack to 8-5, Mac and the Lions to 5-8. In Houston, nothing tastes better than barbecued Jaguar. Peru does something right and crushes Nate's hopes, 321-274. After the game, El Raven fielded questions for Peru because he's a mute. In a nutshell, El Raven said a demoralized Nate is best for the IFL. Both squads to records that don't matter. In Miami, this was supposed to be the rivalry to watch. Maybe next year. Finns crushed the Pats, 419-305. When asked for some kind words for his defeated opponent, Brad simply stated, "Nah, Finns win." Finns win with a 2-game lead in the East at 10-3. Pats fall further into irrelevance. I gotta have a drink break. In New York, it's just been a train wreck of a season. After that 5-2 start, Billy Chris continues to flash dominance with a 347-304 win. And though his season is most likely lost, Dallas Bryan better take him fucking seriously in 2017. I'm talking about Chris Bryan. When asked what has gone wrong, D. Jordan just said, "I lost El Raven's confidence about 6 weeks ago, and I've just not been the same man since." It's okay, D. Jordan. I'll see you in Vegas, baby. We'll drink together in sadness. Both squads to 6-7. And a week after breaking the all-time IFL low points record, Decker followed it up with a blistering 223. Too bad for him that Lewis's Donkeys scored 381. The chasm is wide, my friends. Lewis told reporters that he's been saving all his talking for after he steals the West from Kurt. Broncos to 6-7. Fucking Decker not out of it at 5-8. IFL back in a moment.
We slept for hundreds of years, dreaming of a new home. But when we finally awoke, our dreams of peace were shattered.
Welcome back.
You're the new Pathfinder.
This is incredible.
It's acting like a gravity well.
I have a bad feeling.
We're the aliens. My God.
Now I know
IFL, welcome back to the show. Now, we're almost done with our first season in the IFL. It is hard to believe, but we have almost completed the inaugural season. And it's time to member some things, okay? It's time to member some things. So the first thing that I want to go ahead and member, and this is, you guys are going to like this. It's going to be a good time, okay? Remember when we were fucking so pissed that LA Dan never talked before we replaced him with Andrew? Remember when fucking Matt Jones was going to run all over our face per Josh? Remember clamoring chowderheads?
Yeah, I remember that.
Remember when fucking Aaron went all 1861 on us?
Remember when marriage was just between a man and a woman?
Remember when Nate had fucking two calves that matched?
I remember.
Remember Jai? Remember Randy?
Remember feeling safe? Remember no ISIS? Remember Reagan? Oh, I remember.
Remember the swindle known as the Miami Draft Reveal Show? Remember Bird Basher, an alcoholic?
Remember when there weren't so many Mexicans?
That last one was just too good, and it leads into this one. Remember Andrew Shithouse?
Yeah. Remember Addicts?
Remember when Wade said Crop Top Savior is a good band name?
Remember?
Remember when fucking Josh said, I wonder what it's like to eat a freckle?
Oh, I remember.
Remember when fucking Peru said Breeze is on the block because I'm a dumbass?
Oh, I remember.
Remember when Nate said the Vikings aren't going 8-8 this year?
Remember Spock? Yeah.
Remember when the season started and Mark said, I give up?
Remember feeling safe? Remember no ISIS? Remember?
Never rub another man's rhubarb.
Hello, it's me. I was wondering if after all these years you'd like to meet to go over everything. They say time's supposed to heal, yeah, but I ain't done much healing.
Alright, it is time for this week's picks. I am 62-50 on the season, 10-6 last week, and 3-4 on the upset special of the week. I've got to get right. I'm running out of time. I'm going to take Pitt over Baltimore. That's right. I said it, dude. It hurts. It's so sad. I don't want it to be, but it's true. Seattle over Arizona. Carolina over Atlanta. I'm going to take Miami over Buffalo. Chicago over Detroit. God say it isn't so. Cincinnati Danny over Cleveland. Dallas over New York Jordan. Denver over Oakland. Green Bay over Minnesota. Give me Tennessee over Houston. Indy over Jacksonville. Uh-oh. Kansas City destroys Decker. LA over SF. Josh, that's for you, buddy. New England over New York Jets. The Saints over Tampa Bay in the upset special of the week. And finally, give me my boy, Philly Chris over Washington Brian. IFL, we'll be right back.
It's so difficult for me to talk about myself. I'm sorry. I hope that you're well. Did you ever make it out of that town when nothing ever happened? It's no secret.
There can be only one.
IFL, welcome back. Work on the playoff show began in my head way back in January, but really began this past week. I'll be taking the week off next week, and I want to say happy Thanksgiving to everyone. I hope you guys have a great fucking day with family, friends, new babies, and dogs. Oh, and pigs. Can't forget pigs, but fuck cats. No cats. I will return for my final show of the season, Thursday, December 1st at 9 p.m. Eastern. It's hard to fucking believe, but I've dropped 18 shows this year, you guys. 2 seasons, 18, we're on 36. This will be a live drop, and I sincerely hope that as many of you as possible will be on board for chat and beers. I don't really care if you're fucking hopelessly out of it. This show is about the playoff 12. They deserve our admiration, and after a great regular season, our fucking props. And you deserve to be entertained, and I promise I am bringing my A game as never seen before. I want to get out on this. This has been a fuck of a season. No matter how much I fuck with all of you, know that El Raven is always playing. I love this league. I love the IFL. And you guys are a blast to play fantasy football with, even if you're fucking 31 assholes. Of course, all this love goes to everyone, unless your fucking name is Nate. In that case, you can swallow a jagged fucking broomstick, you Colonel Custard looking son of a bitch. One last thing. As a Niner fan, I'm supposed to fucking hate Cowboys. But mark my fucking words, that class act, Tony Romo, isn't done yet. I feel like everyone forgets that Brady got hurt in that AFC Championship game and Bledsoe came in and saved the fucking day. One more hurrah for Romo. IFL, I will see you in 2 weeks.